What is up, subscribers of PMPBeta? My name is Blake. I am bringing you guys my first narration onto this channel. It is going to be a standard OU match, as you can see by the team preview, which will be up in a second. It is a pretty standard match. We all brought OU Pokemon and not really any UU or any lower tiers. So he's just going to lead off with his Tentacruel as in his special wall, and I just lead off with my Terrakion. And already on the first turn, this is a bad matchup, so I have to switch out because he probably will go for the safe Scald, as it is the first turn, and I go out into my Skarmory, which doesn't really bother having a burn, I guess. But it does have Sturdy, so it will live anything, and Tentacruel usually doesn't have Ice Beam, I would think. So I just go for the Brave Bird because I wanted to get initial damage off on Tentacruel because it does not have a reliable way of recovery. And I tag the Hydreigon on the switch in, and it's looking like a 2-hit KO, so he goes for the Focus Blast on my Skarmory, which is the best move he can go for, and it is a 2-hit KO, but I take it out with my Brave Bird, and that is one big threat out of the way, but in the process I lose my Skarmory with the recoil damage, and I don't really mind this trade-off because Hydreigon is a big threat, so he just lost one potential sweeper. So he just goes on to his Tentacruel, and I kind of predict that with sending in my Jolteon, and I know he was going to switch out because I know he does not want to take a Thunderbolt regardless of what set I am. And this Jolteon is actually choice spexed, so I know a Volt Switch will do a lot of damage to anything he switches in, and he brings in his Terrakion, which is another big threat. And I just bring in my Infernape on the off chance that he wants to stand on a Mach Punch, because this is a mixed Infernape, and he does stay in, which is kind of weird, I would think, because a lot of Infernapes do carry the Mach Punch, but he just stays in and dies. And I go for the Grass Knot onto his Tentacruel because I was kind of predicting him to go for the Toxic Spikes, but he just goes for the safe Scald, and he gets a crit, but that really doesn't matter. My Infernape doesn't really have the greatest defenses, so he just takes it out with the Scald, and I send out my Jolteon again because, again, I know that he will not stay in, and me going for a Volt Switch would do a lot of damage to anything, even the Scissor, and I go for it now, and it does a little over half, so my Jolteon is just doing Volt Switches, and it's still doing a decent amount of damage. But now I go into my Metagross because it completely checks to Scizor. It does not have anything to do for this Metagross because it is max HP, and I kind of predicted this Ferrothorn to switch in, so I go for the Hammer Arm because I know it is super effective, and my Metagross is Adamant max attack, so it will be doing more than half, and is clearly a 2-hit KO. And now I go for the Hammer Arm again because it would KO the Ferrothorn on the off chance that he would stay in, but he just goes out back into his Tentacruel knowing that it would be able to sponge the Hammer Arm. And now my Metagross actually has Stealth Rocks, and that is what I go for this next turn, because I know if I get Stealth Rocks up right now, he will sooner or later have to go for the Rapid Spin, and that Rapid Spin would give me a safe switch into any poke I want. But yeah, I go for the Stealth Rocks right here, and he goes for the Toxic Spikes, and I think a couple of my pokes resist it, which is Metagross, which is really good because it doesn't have the max HP like I said earlier, and it would be able to, it's not affected by Toxic Spikes, so will not be taking residual damage. And now he switches out into a Skarmory as I switch into my Jolteon because I know he would either switch out or go for the Rapid Spin, so it would definitely give me a free switch in, except for the level 1 Toxic Spikes. I get onto my Jolteon. And now I go for the Thunderbolt because I know since Skarmory does not have full HP, it does not have Sturdy intact, so my Thunderbolt will definitely take it out because it is spexed and max special attack. And now he switches into his Ferrothorn because it does resist my Thunderbolt, and he knows that I am locked into it because the Volt Switches from the previous plays have been doing so much damage. He probably knows that it is spexed. But he goes for the Gyro Ball, predicting me to stay in, which I definitely wouldn't because Jolteon has a lot of speed, and Gyro Ball would definitely take it out with one hit. So I go onto my Metagross and sponge it really well. And he stays in when I go for the Hammer Arm. I just want to make the safe plays because if he does switch into his Tentacruel, it's not like I would be punished too bad. If he did switch in and go for the Scald, I wouldn't really want to stay in because I could just go into my Jolteon, predicting the Rapid Spin for a free switch in. But now as this Ferrothorn dies, I switch. He brings in his Tentacruel, and I switch out my Metagross and go into my Jolteon right now, because I did predict the Rapid Spin, and I know he doesn't want any residual damage on his side of the field whenever he switches in. And now I go for the Thunderbolt because it does do a lot of damage to anything on his team. And he switches out, goes out back into his Scizor, but I know that my Thunderbolt will kill. Well, it will KO him because my full switch did over half, and then Thunderbolt on top of it has more base damage, and it will take it out clean. So it's kind of looking like my Jolteon will be able to clean up this match. And I go for the Thunderbolt now, and on the Tentacruel it will be able to take it out because it is spexed. Even though Tentacruel has a respectable special defense, it's not going to live a spexed Thunderbolt from the Jolteon. And that will be the game for me. I think it was a 4-0, but I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. If you did, leave a like, comment, rating, or subscription if you enjoyed. And I just want to thank Pokemoshpit for uploading this battle, and I'll see you guys later.